Been wanting to learn about different careers? Or just need that nudge to pursue your passion projects? Here at Project Offbeat Careers Podcast, we talk to guests with unique careers outside the usual corporate shtick. Listen to historians, gamers, teachers, and cosplayers. See how they've succeeded and how you can apply their learnings to your workplace. Catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And get ready to take the off-beaten path with us.
The views, takes, and opinions expressed on this show are of the host's own and do not represent the views, takes, and opinions of the Bunk Collective and its affiliates. Material and sources mentioned in this episode is for general and commentary purposes only. This episode might include strong language and may not be suitable for children. Listener discretion is advised. Stay safe and stay wrestle, everyone. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to your Unfiltered Wrestling Podcast. And this is the MTV Show Podcast, a wrestling podcast. Okay. So, welcome to the show. Ayan. So, if you're listening to the show, thank you very much for listening weekly on the podcast. And wow, we're only a few weeks away from the 2023 The Bash Awards. So, in-announce ko na agad na magkakaroon tayo ng The Bash Awards 2023. That it might change the format, no? Marami tayong babaguhin sa format ng show or format ng episode na yun. And we might going to do a tier list episode before we do the Bash Awards. I cannot wait to complete the tier list. So yung deadline, yun na lang ang final na inaantay natin for our tier list episode. So the tier list episode na gagawin natin before we do the Bash Awards, ito yung magde-determine ng top 4 premium live events natin na pagbobotohan natin bago mag-The Bash Awards 2023. So, syempre, yung Bash Awards natin, iba naman yung tradisyon. So, yun pa din naman, wala naman ang bago. We're going to do the review of Survivor Series WarGames and then yung deadline, ano pa ba? Yung updates sa Continental Classic na ewan ko ano ba nangyayari na. Hindi ko na masundan personally. And then, syempre yan, Survivor Series ito. Then, gagawa tayo ng review ng Noche Buena, whatever happens. At saka, yung dalawang episode for our Bash Awards 2023. So, every detail that we're going to do regarding on the Bash Awards, ibigay na lang natin sa social media platforms ng show. Reveal na lang tayo ng mga details habang lumalapit yung episode. So, in my watch, I think the Bash Awards episode will be released by, pare-release siya when I check calendar. Okay. So, upon checking the calendar here, kung susundin natin yung traditional na araw ng Bash Awards, it should be December 18, no? It should be by December 18. Pero ewan ko, baka i-release natin siya ng 22 December 22, based on our traditional format for our Bash Awards. And then, magko-continue na habang marami pa nangyayari, like malapit na rin ang Pasko. And then, expected ko na marami nang magra-rush sa mga pamilihan, ganyan. So, we might going to release it early. So, susubukan natin i-release ng early yung episode na yon. But regardless, we are going to have 4 to 5 episodes of the podcast until bago pa matapos yung taon. No? Yun ang abangan natin. So, the Bash Awards 2020. Ayun, sorry about that. So, the Bash Awards 2023. At magko-continue na yung mga stuff natin habang palapit ng palapit yung MWF. Basta, ayun. Marami tayong ipa-factor. Marami tayong pag-uusapan dito sa episode na to this week. I'm just going to try my best to filter up what we can do and what we can expect or what we can get on their end here, no? Basta yun. Yun na yung gagawin natin programming ngayong linggo. So it might be different, it might be sound ibang-iba ang sounding ko. Pero no, that's not really different sounding. So yun na. Eto. So, ito, before we can continue, so just a reminder, guys, na-announce naman natin that the podcast is now available on YouTube. So, if you're using YouTube more on your podcast experience, podcast listening, mas komportable na tayo makinig sa YouTube. So, YouTube now has a podcast, and I think mas komportable din naman in my point of view na sa YouTube na lang makinig ng podcast. So, mas okay din naman sa ibang perspective o sa ibang fans na makinig ng podcast through YouTube. Syempre, mas okay pa din sa kanila yung video. Joke lang. Okay. But yan na nga, guys. It's official. The show, the MTA Show Podcast, Wrestling Podcast, is now available on YouTube, youtube.com/the MTA Show Pod. And then, syempre, dating gawin, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcasts, and then the rest of the podcast platforms. Available lahat naman ng streaming platforms natin for the podcast. And we cannot wait to give you our first Bash Awards that we can release on YouTube. I hope things won't fuck up this time around. Ayan na nga. So officially, we can welcome you now to the show. This is the MTA Show Podcast, a wrestling podcast. This is a podcast by the Bunk Collective. So if you're into the podcast, you can now listen to all of our podcast platforms. So Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, Google Podcast, and the rest of the podcast platforms. And syempre, pakifollow na rin ang podcast sa lahat ng social media platforms. Isang username lang naman yan at the MTG Show Pod. So, yun na. Let's start the podcast na with our discussion about WWE Survivor Series WarGames. So, ito na nga. Mag-uumpisa tayo ng ilang mga intro lang before we can continue now to the pay-per-view. So, this will be the last WWE Premium Live event before 2024. And marami tayong pwedeng i-look forward sa 2 buwan na build-up papuntang Royal Rumble. So, if you're WWE fan lang or wrestling fan lang, di mo naman masusundan yung NXT, this 2-month build-up should be great. This should be amazing. Since marami na ring changes na nakuha natin and this might be blowing up everyone. This possibly CM Punk's first main event of the main event of his career sa WrestleMania. So we could not wait to see how things will fold with CM Punk joining the WWE back after almost 10 years. But okay, so we have to continue now with our regular programming. So let's talk about Survivor Series WarGames. So, umpisa na natin sa pinakamalaking balita na nangyaring noong weekend, which is CM Punk coming out Survivor Series WarGames. Yes, the rumors are true. Lahat po ng inyong mga tanakala at mga bali-balita, lahat po yan ay tumama, lahat po yan ay totoo. So, maraming details na lumabas sa internet after nitong event. Marami ding nangyari na kalokohan na hindi mo malaman kung ito ba ay work shoot, hindi mo malaman kung ito ba ay totoo. Maraming details, sunod-sunod pa yan. We might see different, we might see off stuff. Marami ding sinasabing kesyo si Drew na upset daw, si Seth nag-shoot, and then ayun, nag-shoot na nga siya ngayon sa isang live event. Then ito na nga, maraming mangyayari starting tomorrow on Raw. So if you're going to watch Raw, you should watch fucking Raw. And CM Punk will explain everything, what we can get, what we can do. And according to my stock and to my system, CM Punk might get his main event match versus Seth Rollins. And he is now getting his match. Ayan. So, pag-usapan muna natin yung context. So, katatapos lang ng Survivor Series WarGames main event match between Team Faces, basically Team Cody and Judgment Day and Drew McIntyre. And now, ito na nga, tumunog na yung cult of personality. And then, nag-taunt si CM Punk sa stage. That's the only thing that he did. Wala na pong iba. Okay, so marami pong detalye na lumabas sa X, sa Facebook, sa YouTube, sa mga podcast dyan. But here's the truth. According to Fightful, so Fightful Select, we might check now Sean Rossap kasi siya naman yung pabida na naglabas ng kung ano-anong detalye regarding CM Punk here. So we're going to use the source here. Okay, so ayan na. So, ang sabi dito ni Punk, okay, so we're just looking for the context of the CM Punk. Yes, ito na yung context na we could look more on what we can expect or maybe, ano ba yung mga nililook forward nyo, ganyan lang naman, no? Pero ayun, let's start the thing here. So, CM Punk, like what I said, just appeared on, ayun. So, yung may info din, syempre, si Fightful on the CM Punk information that they posted before. So, I have to check the Fightful Patreon. So, mas reliable naman daw yun. I'm not saying this is the most reliable thing that we have to check here. But I understand your opinion. And I understand as well your perspective about CM Punk being CM Punk. But yun na nga, as a Fightful, like what I said here, I could not give my honest perspective when it comes to the Survivor Series reviews. But okay, I understand. But we have to check the YouTube now of Fightful here. Si Fightful ang unang nag-report na hindi totoo, hindi totoo So actually okay, so sinasabi nila na hindi daw totoo. Pero teka lang, mag-open muna tayo ng Patreon para mas reliable yung info na sasabihin natin, no? So si CM Punk, they said to na it might be sound different, it might be sound stupid, it might be like this, like that, at magulo yung news. Magulo yung news ngayon sa Fightful. Magulo din yung mga nakukuha nating impormasyon na nakukuha natin sa lahat, as in medyo marami ding nangyari din sa mga sunod-sunod na ito sunod-sunod na yung mga nangyari, and then sunod-sunod na rin yung mga free stuff. Okay, so fuck it, just going to check more info regarding what we can do or search. Okay. Mhm. Okay, so we can continue. So, ang sinabi dito ni, what I call this, sinabi ni Triple H, just to confirm, na, ito, nakita ko na yung report. So, this is from Fightful, what I call this, okay, wait lang. Tangina talaga yung corporate logo talaga. Yun ang sinitsure ng NXT. And I know, sobrang excited ako actually sa mga nangyari. Okay, so ito yung details na meron si Fightful. Again, this is from Fightful. Pero check din natin yung sinabi ng PW Insider regarding on CM Punk. So CM Punk told at least one person close to him that he had a hour-long conversation with Triple H last week. Then there are some staff, representative, creative of the WWE. They don't have any idea on what will happen at Survivor Series WarGames. And then he walked through the back in plain sight minutes before he appeared, and they had cleared an area out. Then so Triple H took over calling the show in the last couple of minutes and called for the copyright logo. Even many in production didn't know what happened on that. So I'm glad though na as far as I know, the talent in the ring knows what happened on the match or what will happen after that. That's according to PW Insider na sinabi nila na lahat ng tawag dito, lahat ng nangyari is hindi alam ng lahat. Pero sinabi naman ng PW Insider, the PW Insider report said na yung nasa ring, lahat ng nasa ring, sobrang aware sila sa mga nangyayari. And medyo hindi naman ako confident sa mga nakukuha nating news from Fightful because they are caught daw by some fans na they are being exposed na nagsisinungaling daw sila. O yun ang sinasabi ng fans na nagsisinungaling daw si Fightful. Pero sige, let's continue na. Si CM Punk daw is a free agent as we speak. But we can confirm more once development comes out. And ayun na, marami pa tayong detalye na pag-uusapan. Marami pang pwedeng mangyari. Yes. But ayun, ang meron pa tayong i-confirm na ibang info here. Okay. So here, actually there's a free tier daw na sinabi lahat ni Sean Rossap, lahat daw ng post actually. Hindi rin ako medyo naniniwala. Maraming news na lumalabas ngayon. Ayaw kong magbigay ng kahit anong news na hindi galing sa Fightful. It might be sounds dumb, it might be some stuffy. Ewan ko, parang kakaiba din yung mga nakukuha nating information on these events that we are getting in. But I little bit understand what we should expect on here. Actually, yun na, marami tayong kailangan i-expect, marami rin tayong kailangan isipin. And there's a lot of things na, ano ba tawag dito? There's a lot of things that we should deal with. But for the meantime, pag-usapan muna natin yung return ni CM Punk. In my own opinion, na okay. So, the return took 9 years, no? So, 9 na taon bago nag-return si Triple H tawag ba dito? Si CM Punk. And holy man, I could say, hindi ko masabi na, ano ba tawag dito? Hindi ko masabi na, I think, sorry, hindi ko masabi na okay yung return kumpara doon sa return niya sa AEW. No bias. Pero syempre, iba yung dating na nag-return ka sa sarili mong bahay or the company that made you famous hits different. So that's why ibang-iba yung feeling, ibang-iba yung feeling o dating nung debut or return na to ni CM Punk. So, I'm not hating the AEW debut. The AEW debut was horrendous. Sobrang ganda nun. Wala akong masabi. Pero, this return of CM Punk is just different as fuck. And, wow, holy man. We might look for more or maybe we might things different. Ewan ko, marami pang pwedeng mangyari in the next couple of weeks na hindi ko man inaasahan, pero it might be true too. Pero hindi ko rin alam kung ano ba ang pwede pang mangyari kasi napakarami pa ng pwedeng mangyari. So habang ini-steer natin yung shit ni CM Punk, marami pa tayong pwedeng i-address after of that. That will be different, that will sound stupid, that should do difference. Pero sige, pag-usapan muna natin ang return na to ni CM Punk kasi humahaba na yung first thought opinion ko dito. Okay, so CM Punk returning with the Cult of Personality, the remastered version. So yun na pala yun. But okay, I really love the remastered version, but I think we might see different or we might sound different or we might sound stupid or different here. But okay, I can get what I think naman. Ayun, isang observation lang na nakukuha natin just few minutes ago or just few moments ago na bagamat iba yung pwedeng mangyari, yung ibang mga bagay na tama pinagsipaw mo mabuti regarding on that matter. But I don't know. Either way. Ayun. So, ayan. Wala na ako sasabihin ko. Ito yung alam mo na sobrang nasurpresa ka talaga. Masusurprise ka talaga. Basta as long as things might go in their way, things might go different. Ayun. So, confirm na lang natin. So, oh my God, holy fuck. Ayun. So, Triple H said in the conference na, wow, that was a last minute. This is one of those lightning in a bottle moments that came together very quickly, but we're incredibly excited about it. He said in a conference, so it didn't start to come to fruition until everybody stopped thinking it was going to happen. And all of the sudden, it was happening. So Triple H referenced the fact that Triple H or CM Punk has often hinted he would not return to WWE since he left a decade ago. So Triple H said as well that everybody grows, everybody changes, and I'm a different person. He's a different person. This is a different company and we're all on the same even starting ground. So after, yun lang naman. So ito, alam nyo, sobrang exciting ng wrestling ngayon. Not only WWE, because of CM Punk appearing back. So AEW doing their Continental Classic. We're not going to talk about AEW for this episode for now. We might just talk about it in the next couple of episodes. And then, ano pa ba? Alam nyo, sobrang iba yung feel na nakita natin si CM Punk for the very first time. And holy hell, we might get different Punk here. Or if hindi naman, okay. Pero yan, ano pa ba? Ano pa bang kailangan natin i-info here? But wala naman na. So, in my opinion na lang, at least, ano bang pwede ko sabihin? Ang akin lang siguro, CM Punk can change the game again, but he will never be forgotten as one of the guys who almost destroyed this company. And thanks to Jack Perry, AEW is not surviving now and I don't know why he is not coming back yet. Pero ito, so sinabi ng Fightful as November 6, 2023, the 45-year-old people close to him that he wasn't work towards a WWE contract o hindi daw planado. Hindi ko nasama yung thought ni Dave Meltzer dito sa WWE na to kasi hindi ko naman ayoko rin ipasubo sa inyo yung mga info ni Dave Meltzer because I don't fucking believe in Dave Meltzer. Pero ayun, sa ngayon wala pa tayong ibang impormasyon na pwedeng maibigay. Pero ang gusto ko lang iparating sa inyo guys, kalmahan nyo lang. Just wait what will happen and everyone will get the explanation CM Punk will say or CM Punk will provide to us. But for now, yun lang muna sa akin. Hindi muna ako magre-react overtly. Siguro lang mag-focus lang tayo on what can happen or what will happen in the next couple of episodes in the next couple of days. So that's why itong episode na to is just a Survivor Series review. So Saturday or Sunday before Noche Buena, we might going to release one more episode just to update you guys on what can happen or what will happen sa mga susunod na oras. At doon na rin natin pag-usapan yung mga thoughts ko on other wrestling shows. For now, this episode will just stick on Survivor Series. Okay, so now, let's talk about the match now. So Survivor Series WarGames match for the men. So let's start for the men. Na eto, so pansin ko tong men's WarGames. I'm not going to decimate everything na on my end. So the men's WarGames started with Seth and Finn Balor and hindi ko na i-decimate lahat ng mga nangyari pero holy hell, the match was fun. The match was holy shit. That was a really good match. But the only problem that I can have here, kumpara last year, these WarGames matches that we have on both men's and women's are shorter. Hindi ko alam kung ito ba ay part ng booking nila sa match or ewan ko ba kung nasusunod pa ba nila yung oras sa mga matches. Pero parang ang ikli. Wala siyang ganong carnage. Both of them doesn't have a really big carnage here. But both of them are still a really good matches. Regarding on that, mamaya pag-usapan natin kung ano ba yung much better to me. No? So for now, sa perspective ko lang, yung men's WarGames, sige, pag-usapan muna natin yung men's WarGames. The men's WarGames was fine. Yun lang masasabi ko. That was fine. Pero ang problema ko kasi sa WarGames na to, like what I said, medyo naging predictable siya in a way. Pero the Randy Orton appearance din, pag-uusapan din natin. Randy Orton appearance that we have here, that was a really fun appearance too. Pero nabitin ako on his appearance dito. It took only 9 minutes. Like, holy fuck, that was only 9 minutes. I could not believe that was only 9 minutes. Then, medyo uminit lang yung match after lumabas ni Orton. So, it's kinda interesting too. And then, Rhea Ripley was trying to cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase after ma-set up ng ni Seth Rollins dun sa table. And then, holy fuck, the match was really good. But I don't think the 2022 can top this one. I don't think so. But ayun. So, maraming nangyari sa match. And wow, what the hell. But the match regardless of what we got, I think this is great. But I don't think this the greatest WarGames that we have. But ayun lang. Continue na lang natin. After nito, syempre, ito na nga yung most awaited return ni CM Punk. And ayun na nga. The rest is history. Hindi natin napag-usapan yung match. Pero yun. Yun lang. Ang thought ko lang dito, I like this match a lot. Ganito rin. Nagustuhan ko rin siya. Pero Ang problema ko lang, hindi masyadong nag-sell si Orton and wala masyadong drama. It's just basically kicking Judgment Day's asses over and over. Pero yun lang naman. Yun naman yung nangyari. And I hope the feud, all of them will be done by then. Tapos na. Sana tapos na to. Putang na. Hindi ko na kaya magtagal pa no, na may feud ng Judgment Day laban sa apat na to. Excluding Randy Orton. Okay. So, medyo weak din yung booking sa Judgment Day. But for sure, yung return na to ni Orton, yun lang talaga yung highlight basically. But the match, regardless, that was a really good, fun return match. Okay. So, yun lang naman. Wala naman masyadong special. So, aside after that, yun na yung kay CM Punk. Wala naman nangyari kay CM Punk aside from it. Pag-usapan na lang natin yung iba pang detalye ng return ni CM Punk once we get all of the info on Raw and some shows pa ng WWE. Mamaya makakuha tayo ng info on that. And yun, that was a really good fun. WarGames. But okay. So let's continue now with the matches or the other matches that we must anticipate. So let's start with the women's WarGames. So Damage Control, Io Sky, Bayley, Asuka, and Kairi Sane versus Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair, Shotzi, and Becky Lynch. So fun vote to. Very obvious na women, they are always set to win fan votes. Pero wala namang issue fan votes yan. Sponsored fan votes ito. So, alam nyo, regardless on what happened dito sa poll na to, yung mga poll na to, the match, ito sa tingin ko lang, the women's WarGames was so much better than what we got in the men. Overall. Yung mga putang ina na nagsasabi na, ang boring naman ito, masyado naman boring, kasi puro babae naglalaban. Shut your bitch ass up. Pero ayun, the women's match was better than the men's WarGames. I hate to say this, but this is true. The women's WarGames is so much better than the men's WarGames. So, kumpara sa nakuha natin sa men's ngayon taon, mas okay to. Sinabi ko na to last year, mas okay pa rin to. Totoo lang. Alam nyo lang yung nagpasira ng experience ko? Disney Plus. Seryoso to Ang nagpasira lang ng experience ko last year sa WarGames, Disney Plus, and I have to watch it on the WWE Network. Lucky me, there's still WWE Network that time that I could finish it na pwede ko siyang matapos, and luckily, that was a really good shit. Okay, so, ito na nga, yung Women's WarGames, hindi ko na i-decimate ko na pa yung mga nangyari, but I could say this was magic. That was holy fuck. The highlight actually of this WarGames match was the reuniting Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. Like, holy man. They are unstoppable where they're combining their forces here. And that was really good. And on the way they booked Becky and Charlotte here, that was holy shit, man. That was really good, actually. I would love to see them team again, or I would love to see them fight again. But I don't want to see them fight for now. Gusto ko lang talaga maging tag champion sila, at least until WrestleMania. Sana wag niyo munang ilaban itong dalawang to sa mga women's individual titles. I just want to see both Charlotte and Becky with the women's tag titles dominating both Raw and SmackDown. That would be great for me. Wala na akong kaso. Pero ayoko munang lumaban sila sa kahit anong women's title. Ayun lang. Ayoko munang lumaban sila. Mapa women's world title or mapa Io Sky. Ayoko munang lumaban sila. Siguro, just capitalize with this possibly teaming up by Becky and Charlotte. That would be great too. Plus, to the fact that they are both Raw and SmackDown. Perfect. See? That's perfect. Pero yun, regarding on that, that was a really good match. Mas mahaba yung pagtell ng story ng women's WarGames kumpara din sa men's. And the moment actually with Becky and Charlotte was the highlight. Ito na naman, pero ito yung problema ko lagi na if we could coexist, ito na yung lagi nangyayari. Pero ito yung importanteng dapat isipin nyo din regarding on the Women's War Games. So Bailey is now getting kicked out of Damage Control. This was the highlight of this whole match itself. So she created this thing because of the possible changes in the group right now. So that's actually what we can look forward. So yes, the finish of this year's War Games is basically a carbon copy of last year's. Pero like what I said, overall, I think this match was better than the women's last year. And hindi ko na kailangan mag-expect. Masyadong tumaas yung expectation ko sa mga women's War Games. But yes, that was a really good fun. And also, we have to look forward to see putang ina pare. Gusto ko na maging champion si Shotzi. I cannot wait to see Shotzi getting any titles this year or next year. Sana kahit women's title lang ni Io Sky, ibigay nila kay Shotzi para maging proud Pilipino na tayo ulit. Aside kay TJP, the last time we got an experience na Filipino moment dito was TJP's. And then, ayun. But regardless, Shotzi, I could not wait to see her holding a women's title in 2024. If they're booking her something like that, it means they are booking her something big pa in the next couple of days. So yun yung aabangan natin at kailangan natin i-look forward. But yun, regarding on that, Shotzi here, wow. Shotzi made me impressed here, pero she needs more establishment. They need to establish her more. She needs titles. Yun lang. She needs titles. Pero, ayun. So also, before we go to our commercial breaks and sang haba ng part 1 natin, 34 minutes na agad ako, nagpabramp lang ako about the 2 War Games matches. Ayun na. So, R-Truth is back on the television. So, it's so nice to see R-Truth back on television. It's so nice to see R-Truth too. And, holy man, that was a really good one. Like, man, holy hell. That was so good. Yun lang naman. So, R-Truth is back on the television and we could not wait to see him more over Punk and Randy. De joke lang. Ayun. Sobrang excited ako with R-Truth here. All of them actually, R-Truth, Punk, and Orton. I could not wait to see more of them once we are getting some shit here. Okay, but now, I'm just going to take a short break here. Marami pa tayong pag-uusapan. So, 3 matches pa yung pag-uusapan natin. When we come back, we're going to talk about the rest of the War Games. And pag-usapan na natin yung final verdict ko for the whole Survivor Series War Games. And we can talk about what we can get on the next episode of the show once it folds on our podcast next Saturday or this Saturday on our podcast platforms or Sunday. Okay. So for now, we're just going to take a short break. Let's check our bunkmates here on Bunk Collective.
Annyeong, we are One to Sarang.
Your next favorite Hallyu podcast.
We talk K-drama.
Ang daming kilig every time
Oh my
we
God.
hear K-drama. We also talk K-pop.
Yung feeling ko sa 17 na they bring me so much happiness.
And we live to entertain.
What you gonna do when Dicky steak in front of
Check us out now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Also on YouTube. Join us sa tawanan at kwentuhan from One to Sarang.
Hey everyone, this is Mo Twister, and you're listening to the Kingdom Podcast with the voice DJ Yuki.
That was the OG, Mo Twister, promoting this podcast. If you like Korean pop culture, or know someone who does, then get into it, and visit our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram pages at the Kingdom Pod PH.
We're proud to tell you that this is one of the premier shows to go to for your weekly dose of K-pop. So drop everything and listen to the Kingdom Podcast. Available in all your podcast streaming platforms.
Join us!
Okay, so welcome back to the MT Show podcast or Wrestling Podcast. If you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and the rest of the podcast platforms, and also on YouTube, you can give us a subscribe button. Pakipress naman nun. And then you can give us a 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And mag-comment naman kayo sa ating mga YouTube posts and also on our YouTube threads o yung YouTube posts natin. So therefore, di kayo maiwan sa mga thoughts natin about Survivor Series WarGames and then sa parating na episode natin this Saturday on the podcast. So for now, we might to continue now with the Miz versus Ganta for the Intercontinental Championship. So this match, I think, ito yung pinakamagandang singles match para sa akin sa buong Survivor Series WarGames. This is no close. Holy fuck. That was no close here. And on the way they presented this match, that was so good. Akala ko nga 20 minutes na yun. Pero hindi. That was a really good way of presenting serious Miz. And as usual, this is a Gunter match. So expect a banger as well. That was a really good way to present Gunter here more. So hindi ako nag-expect ng mahabang match personally from Gunter and Miz. Pero, wow. That was holy shit. Ito yung match na mapapatayo ka kung ibang spot to ng show. Pero since it's one game, itong match na to, kung nasa ibang spot to, kung ito yung main event sa ibang show, for sure, maraming magtatayuan dito. Since it's War Games, ito ay undercard lang, it might change the fact, no? Pero regardless on that was a really good match between Gunter and Miz. And gusto ko pa sila maglaban ulit. I could not wait to see them more fight. And imagine na humabot to ng mga 20-30 minutes or maybe a Miz takeover match. Wow, hindi ko ma-imagine. That was holy shit. But let's continue here. So, there's a lot of promotion. So, let's talk about Santos Escobar versus Dragon Lee. So, alam niyo naman yung nangyari kay Carlito. Si Carlito took out Carlito. So, Dragon Lee is now in this match. And you know how people really love Dragon Lee in the past few days. So, that will be possibly one of the factors. That's why he is competing in this match. But yeah, it's a little bit understandable. So, the Dragon Lee Santos Escobar match is a win, a must win for Santos Escobar. And sobrang impressive nun in my opinion. Pero bitin ako. At the same time, medyo justified din na ganito lang siya kahaba since it's more on establishing one, Santos Escobar more, and number two, para ma-present si Dragon Lee on the pay-per-view. But regardless on what we got here in this match, that was a really good match on both of them. And gusto ko pa ng rematch, utang na loob. I want a rematch between both of them. And parating na tayo dun sa build na ibibuild pa nila yung feud between LWO and eventually Santos Escobar and his team that we are going to get soon. And then aside from that, so yun lang naman, medyo wala naman ako masyadong kailangan sabihin sa inyo about that. And ito na. So we start versus Rhea Ripley. So ito yung match. So sorry about that. So ito yung match na hindi ko gaano na look forward. Ito yung match na hindi ko gaano na look forward. Pero ang weird to me masyado na heel sila parehas. But it's a little bit understandable too. That was a really amazing match. And medyo obvious naman. So obvious naman siya na ito yung retain. So statement lang talaga to. It's basically a statement. So yun lang. Yun lang naman. So wala naman ako ganong issue sa mga match na pwede pang mangyari here. Pero ayun. Yun lang naman. So basically that's it for our Survivor Series WarGames. Maikli yung thought ko sa tatlong match. Pero kung gano'n sila kaikli, gano'n lang din kaikli yung thought ko. Pero let's rank all of the matches ng Survivor Series WarGames. So number 1, definitely the Women's WarGames match. So if you're really looking forward to the one who stood up or stand up on this event, I should give it to the Women's War Games. It's a really good War Games match. And if you're into more War Games, I think the Women's gave it more to you. And the storytelling is just amazing, especially with Bailey possibly getting kicked out of Damage Control. Ito yung highlight basically ng whole match na to. Number 2, I can give it to Gunter versus Miz. Gunter versus Miz was just so good. Hindi ko ma-imagine na if nasa ibang show to, we could imagine more different or hindi ako pwedeng mag-imagine pa. Pero regardless, if this match was on a different show, imagine pa kung ano pang pwedeng mangyari on both of them. Number 3, I can give it to Men's War Games. So Men's War Games is a little bit off to me. But regardless, that was a really good match pa din. Really good match pa din. Pero I don't think this can top the 2022 match that we got last year. Number 4 is obviously the Santos Escobar match. Not my thing, pero it's very obvious just to establish Santos Escobar more. And then number 5, basically the Rhea Ripley Zoe Stark match. The match was fun, pero it's not a cup of my tea. Hindi bagay talaga yung heel versus heel dito. Wala akong pake kung over si Rhea. It's the fact na dapat itugmaan yung character booking dito. Face versus heel, heel versus face. Yun lang naman. So, yun na lang muna yung thoughts ko about Survivor Series War Games. Overall, pay-per-view was fun. Wala naman akong ganong complaints about the whole show. Kung may magbago pa sa opinion ko, discuss ko na lang sa susunod na episode. Pero for now, ito na lang muna. The match was, full PLE was fun. Salamat din sa Disney Plus sa always na pag-air ng shows kahit putang na pinapatay nyo yung disaster. Disaster niya yung stream ng WWE events. Tangina. Pero yun, regardless on what we got here, ito na. So, kukumpletuhin na natin yung mga WWE Premium Live events on our ranking. So, meron akong ranking na nilabas before dito sa Facebook, sa X, at saka sa iba pang social media platforms. So, kung bibigyan ko ng ranking yung buong War Games match or War Games event, ima-minus ko na yung appearance ni CM Punk kasi bumukha akong bias pag sinama ko yon. I think War Games can get a solid hindi ko pwedeng bigyan ng solid 8 kasi solid 8 is very outstanding ni. Backlash is still my top pay-per-view of the year for WWE. And for whatever reason, sobrang solid din ng Survivor Series War Games. And hindi siya pwedeng dumikit sa Backlash kasi yung Backlash, that's on a top level. Sobrang iba yung pakiramdam ko when I watch Backlash. Iba rin yung pakiramdam ko when I watch this Survivor Series War Games. The Survivor Series War Games puts the score. Ito pa lang, yung dalawang match pa lang sa tingin ko, ito na yung nagpa-score ng buong event para sa akin. So I can give Survivor Series War Games a solid 8.5 out of 10. Overall na yon. Pero sa tingin ko yung dalawang match pa lang, ito na yung nagpa-establish ng score para sa akin for this year Survivor Series War Games. But we can wait for Deadline. Yun na lang naman ang abangan natin, NXT Deadline. Yun na lang inaantay natin para magkatapos-tapos na tayo sa ating tier list na i-release natin by the third week of December, and then the Bash Awards 2023 by the next episode after of that. So for now, yan lang muna ang aking Survivor Series War Games thoughts. Ito na yung part 1, basically parang part 1 siya ng buong recording na to. So if you're into like this, let me know. Gusto ko rin yung ganito kaikling recording lang. I know this is very different to you guys, pero yes, different din siya sa akin. Ayun. So yung abangan nyo sa podcast this week. So basically, yung thoughts ko sa Continental Classic, abangan nyo yun. So marami akong takes about the Continental Classic. Habang nag-execute yung tournament, bibigyan ko na lang kayo ng mga update sa mga rankings and scores ng Continental Classic. So, bigyan ko kayo ng thoughts about that. Bibigyan ko kayo ng thoughts also on the CM Punk post Survivor Series promo na possibly makuha natin sa Survivor Series, sa episode na to after Survivor Series. And also, of course, NXT is still building up their event going to NXT Deadline by December 9, and also the match between MJF versus Samoa Joe for the AEW title. And syempre yung ideya na i-unify daw ni Tony Khan yung mga titles in favor of his Continental Classic. Ayan, marami tayong pag-uusapan on next episode, or hindi next week's episode, next episode. Marami tayong pag-uusapan sa susunod na episode. So, keep an eye on your Spotify, keep an eye on Apple Podcast, keep an eye on YouTube. So therefore, you would miss all of these thoughts on our coming episode here on the show. And for now, we have to wrap it up. So follow the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, the rest of the podcast platforms, and on the podcast app. So also, we can now confirm and announce that the MD Show podcast is now on YouTube. You can now listen to all of the episodes from episode 1 to episode number 2 or 190. Itong episode na to is 190. So, all of the episodes are available on YouTube. That's youtube.com/@the-MTG-Showpod. Don't forget to subscribe and pakipress na rin ng bell icon para hindi kayo maiwan sa mga thoughts natin and sa mga opinions that we are releasing here on the show from time to time. Don't forget to support us as well on Patreon, patreon.com/the-MTG-Showpod for more in-depth analysis of what we do. Oh, sorry about that. For more in-depth analysis of what we do here on the show. And also, pakisupport na rin ng iba pang mga podcast natin dito sa Bunk Collective. And pakisupport na rin sila sa social media at The Bunk PH and on the website, thebunkph.com. So, yun na naman. So, last thing before we can continue, please support then MWF for their upcoming show. That's MWF Noche Buena. That is Sunday. Also, kung nakikinig kayo ngayon, may raffle si Kayfabe Cafe, our friends from Kayfabe Cafe, is doing a raffle with one ticket, ringside ticket for Noche Buena. So, kung gusto nyo makisama sa Noche Buena ngayong taon, mag-join na kayo doon sa raffle ng Kayfabe Cafe. All of the links will be up on Kayfabe Cafe social media platforms. Hindi ko na siya i-up dito sa podcast. But you can support Kayfabe Cafe as well on their social media platforms for more details on that giveaway. So also, this week on The Kingdom, so marami tayong aabangan, especially with the Mama Awards coming out this week, and also yung episode nila regarding soloists. Ito, medyo may bias ako sa mga solo na idol. So yun, para sa inyo to, mga episode na to. Para din sa akin yung episode na yun. So if you're into it, you can listen to The Kingdom Podcast, a wrestling podcast, a K-pop podcast. Wow! Nag-pitch ako ng name. Ay, okay. Parang nag-pitch na ako ng name. So, The Kingdom Podcast, a wrestling podcast. Ang labo, di ba? Yun lang naman. Yun lang naman for me for now in this episode. So, this basically Survivor Series heavy episode. If you're into it, you can listen to this episode. And don't worry, we're going to release complimentary episode talking about everything, what happened after this show, and what will happen next with CM Punk moving to WWE. We could not predict what will happen next. So, yan ang pag-uusapan natin on next week's episode or next episode of the show. Bago tayo pumunta ng Noche Buena, so MWF Noche Buena is this Sunday na rin. So, please support our friends from MWF. And thank you din sa mga nagpunta ng... Oh, sorry about that. Thank you din sa mga nagpunta ng Rakrakan. That Rakrakan was a really good show. Hindi ako nakapunta, pero regardless, that was a really good show. Yun lang naman. So, picks na lang ako. Last na tayo. Magpipicks na lang tayo. So, yung woman of the week ko is definitely Becky. No questions asked. Becky Lynch yun. And then, yung superstar of the week natin, hindi si CM Punk, hindi rin si Seth, hindi rin si Orton, kundi si Gunter. And then, yung match of the week natin, I can give it to the Women's Survivor Series WarGames match. That was a really good fun match. if you're going to ask me about the whole War Games match. And yun, maganda yun para sa akin. Yun lang naman for now on the show. You can listen to the show more. And for now, stay safe, stay rest. So see you on the next episode of the show. We're going to release it by Saturday or Sunday here on our podcast platforms, Facebook, YouTube, and on our Spotify, Apple Podcast platform. So for now, stay safe and stay rest. So see you on the next episode of the show. Goodbye for now.